All right, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Gaming Dad Fujo podcast. This is episode number 29, being recorded on August 14th, 2024. I am Fujosovich, your host, a former professional Hearthstone player. Now I'm working as a chemist in the pharmaceutical industry, and this is a place where we get to talk about all that fun stuff we used to talk about on our streams, which would make it into our daily YouTube videos, back when we used to do that. And instead of interrupting all of our great talk and our topics with gameplay of like, oh my goodness, I really hope I top deck Frostless Jaina right now, we're going to be interrupting ourselves with different topics. And on today's episode, we will be talking about, at the very least, Deadpool and Wolverine, Steam's Deadlock first-person shooter, and Star Wars Acolyte. All of those topics and so many more. Let's get started. He's got no time to play video games. He's the gaming dad, Fujo. Nailed it. All right, and as we get started, let's do the usual housekeeping that everyone likes to do for their podcast, and we like to do it too. If you're watching on the YouTubes, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications. If you're watching and only listening on the podcast verse, hit us with that 5 out of 5. Always feel free to give the comments. We're always looking for different gaming dad gaming suggestions. We've kind of gotten back into Hearthstone, which is kind of silly. Poke Rogue, haven't played in 3-4 weeks, haven't even turned it on. That might change in the next week. We'll see what happens. But we've done a little bit of Hearthstoning. Pokemon Go, still haven't hit the 7-day streak yet, so that's also kind of fading. So we're always looking for more gaming dad options. Obviously, mobile is best, and we're going to hop into some gaming topics, obviously, a little bit later for some things that are coming our way soon. But let's get into our first topic. Of course, it's going to be the biggest one of the past 2 weeks. Actually, before we jump in past 3 weeks, this is the first time for this entire year. Normally, the podcast is every other Friday. This is the first time it's been a third. We're going to get back to every other Friday moving forward. Let's go Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going to be full spoilers, just so we're clear. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. Maybe skip the next, 7 to 10 minutes or something like that. It's going to be full spoilers. The movie's been out for a couple weeks, so sorry. And you know what? This time, when this movie came out, I was neither careless nor lethargic with my viewing. I saw it opening weekend. That almost never happens. And before we start nerding out, let's get into some numbers. 8th biggest opening weekend of all time for a movie. I think it was over $200 million in the first weekend. Smashed Deadpool's previous record by over $70 million. Biggest opening weekend for Ryan Reynolds and or Hugh Jackman. It beat out Lion King's record from 2019, so that's always fantastic because I did not like that version of Lion King. Biggest Disney opening weekend since Endgame, not a huge surprise. And they just passed $1 billion worldwide, and all of this was for a rated R movie, which is so ridiculous. Oh, and it's the highest grossing rated R movie of all time for opening weekend. Just absolutely incredible. Now let's start nerding out on the comic book stuff. Okay, we're gonna go top 10 moments in no particular order. Cavalrine, 100% man crush. We know we talk about Henry Cavill on this podcast whenever we have a chance. Absolutely fantastic. You were just leaving. Kaboom! Punches him through the TVA portal. Fantastic. Number 2, Blade. Do I even need to say anything else? Still trying to ice skate uphill. It's just fantastic. Just even getting him. Moment number 3, Wesley Snipes telling Ryan Reynolds that he doesn't like him. He says, I don't like you. And Deadpool says, you never did. Which is just this amazing, Blade 3, they had this real life, I'm going to say beef, but they didn't really get along during Blade 3. Fantastic to just reference it, and it seems like they're all buddies now. Moment number 4, Deadpool Wolverine, the first fight. Deadpool said it, full nerdgasm, let's bleep and go. Moment number 5, Deadpool and Wolverine fighting in the Honda Odyssey, which also bleeps, as we have established. Moment number 6, this is a silly one. There's actually 4 of us, and Deadpool says, who else? Who is it? Let it be Magneto. Please let it bleeping be Magneto. Just the way he says it, I don't know why, it just made me laugh so much, and I was also really excited to see Magneto. Number 7, Deadpool and Wolverine versus a Deadpool corpse. So here's the thing, when it comes to action movies, I love long single shots of action. If there's an action scene and then someone swings a sword and then it cuts to the next person blocking it and then they go to counter and then it cuts to a different camera angle, it just takes me out of that moment. And I know this big fight scene, it was maybe, a minute long, maybe a couple minutes long. And I know there was a lot of CGI and it was probably things were stitched together because they have all their Disney, CGI money. But I just love the fact that it provided me the illusion of one shot. It's not like Daredevil season 3 where it was actually a 15-minute fight scene. Even though in that one, apparently the Netflix Daredevil, which by the way is coming back, just announced, with all that original cast that we all know and love. But in that original fight scene, the way they did it is like Matt would go off screen, and if they needed to cut, they could have. But when they looked at they did like one of the full cuts, and the director's like, no, they just used that whole thing, which was actually a 15-minute sequence, which is incredible. Okay, moment number 8, Loki not showing up, despite how much time there was with the TVA and TVA related stuff. And here's the thing, I love Loki. But another man crush with Hiddleston, that's fine. A lot of man crushes, and like I said, that's fine, right? And it's just, and look, they also kept we'll talk more about the Fox thing, but a lot of the cameos were very Fox centric, and I'm sure Ryan Reynolds would have taken him if, they thought it would have been useful and helpful, and he agreed and all that stuff. But impossible hot take, Loki might be my favorite MCU character. I don't know why, I really like him, and honestly, look, I also sympathize with someone else who is also burdened by glorious purpose. Or burdened with glorious purpose. I messed it up. That's okay. You all knew what I meant. Moment number 9. He's going to say it. Avengers Assemble. And then the flame on. When he hits the flame on, because they had the deception, because Johnny Storm was wearing like the blue underneath his cloak. And you're like, oh my goodness, is it actually Captain America? He did the cool superhero landing. Moment number 10. I'm interrupting myself. This is incredible. I'm too excited right now. Like a Prayer. Madonna, absolutely perfectly used in a movie that had fantastic music all around. Okay. Now let's talk about all of this. So a lot of people originally hypothesized that this was going to be Daredevil killing off a lot of the Fox characters. A lot of the Fox, cameos would be Daredevil kill. Absolutely the opposite way. This is a fantastic send-off, a goodbye, a love letter to all of those Fox superhero movies that got us to this point. It's Deadpool is a meta character, right? And it's not just he doesn't just like reference himself and all the Fox stuff. It's not just fourth wall breaking. It's actually like, it's this commentary on the history of what's happening, right? It's, I think there was an interesting discussion online how like, it's not that Logan died, right? In the movie Logan. It's that Hugh Jackman killed off the character. And the Fox X-Men franchise basically couldn't go on without him, right? And so, what was this parallel that I saw people, as our fun internet discussions, right? The studio execs, which is the TVA, want to give it a swift death and a reboot, right? And basically to preserve the sacred timeline, which is the MCU, right? And they, basically Paradox, in the TVA, would just want to pluck out the valuable and profitable IPs, which is Deadpool, and which is why Deadpool was invited. Yeah, come on into the sacred timeline. You're so interesting, right? It's just kind of, it's cool that they basically, it was the story of, giving all these other characters a chance, right? It was almost, it was the way that kind of it was taking almost a shot at Disney as much as they could have. And it's a dig at, like, honestly, also like the fans, because you see how like quickly it's like this really, it's a really like meta discussion. I'm getting really deep inside my head now. I need to keep talking though. It's like, this is the way it works. It's a shot at all of us because of how quickly we're able to reboot and being willing to disregard, like, I didn't like this movie, move on. They need new actors, new directors, new characters, right? Here's the thing. If Wolverine is able to be redeemed from what was the Origins movie and ends up making Logan, how can we be so quick for Out for Blood and needing to reboot Fantastic Four or Blade or anything like that, right? So it's like, when you see what's happening there, like, it's incredible. And this movie is a fantastic culmination of the Deadpool trilogy. I hope there's another fourth. I hope there's a fifth. Bring Hugh Jackman back for more. Get Ryan Reynolds until they're 90, 100%. And here's the thing. Hugh Jackman, we're going to continue to nerd out, right? Hugh Jackman finally pulls on the Wolverine mask, arms exposed. That's the Wolverine I grew up with. It was incredible. And of course, having Madonna in the background was fantastic. And then at the end, there was also this incredible other discussion that I ran into, may have been part of online. The symbolism at the end of this, like at the end of the movie, they're trying to have to short circuit this machine, right? And there's matter and there's antimatter. And you needed both Wolverine and Deadpool. And all Deadpool wanted to do was matter. And all Wolverine wanted to do was drink and not matter. And they needed to come together to save the timelines. That's probably a little too deep and maybe not exactly what the writers meant, but it's this cool, like, little symbolism that goes on there, right? And it's so cool. It's one of those movies. The second it comes out to streaming, we're gonna watch it again. We're gonna watch it again, and it's so incredible. It's one like Infinity War and Endgame. I feel like I could watch those. It's like a once a year. Like, let's just redo it. It's so cool to show that culmination of everything, and everything gets traced back so far here. Like, you can go back to when Fox taped Deadmouth's Deadpool's mouth shut during Wolverine Origins, or that someone leaked that, maybe even a little earlier, when someone leaked that Deadpool test footage 10 years ago. I guess it was after Origins, and we know that someone is actually Ryan Reynolds. It was definitely him, or maybe he gave it to someone else. I think that's what he kind of admitted to. There may have been an assist to get that footage out. And honestly, I think we can trace it even farther back. 1998, Sony had the chance to buy the rights to all Marvel heroes for $25 million, and they only took Spider-Man and X-Men because they thought no one would care about the others. And they honestly weren't even that wrong, because the MCU built up what were effectively B-list, B-tier heroes, and we got fantastic movies, and we're able to build it up. And there's going to be a lot more years with a lot of MCU fun. A lot more Avengers are coming. Yeah, there was this little announcement also with Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom. I guess that's kind of a big deal, and we'll talk about that some other time. But I'm really excited to see the future of superhero movies. Next Captain America movie is going to be great. The next two Avengers are going to be fantastic. And we know that Deadpool, the Merc with the Mouth, is going to be showing up every once in a while, I think, to drop an F-bomb and to lighten the mood. And you can quote me on that. Okay, moving on to much more sad and somber news. I think it's worth noting Rachel Lilia, the voice actress most well known for playing Misty and Jessie in Pokemon, passed away at the very, very young age of 46. That's really scary. Lost a battle with cancer. Huge part of Pokemon, from especially right at the beginning when Misty was there. I don't know. I should have looked this up. Well, I'm gonna guess off the top of my head how many episodes until Misty showed up. It took like 3 or 4 to get to Brock. Another 3 or 4. So I'm saying like episode 8 or 9, Misty first showed up, and Jessie probably showed up before. So massive part of the Pokemon world is blasting off for one last time. And we know how positively her work touched so many people's lives. Condolences to her and family. Let's go move on to some other topics. What are we going to talk about? Oh, yes, this is an interesting gaming topic here. Xbox. This is a follow-up. Xbox closed a bunch of studios. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. I know that doesn't narrow it down because I feel like that's what we've been talking about for most of the year. Specifically, Tango Gameworks was actually acquired by PUBG's Krafton Inc. And with that acquisition, acquired the rights for Hi-Fi Rush, which online got people very, very happy, because everyone's expecting a Hi-Fi Rush 2, the sequel, to come out. They didn't. It's been confirmed. PUBG, or Krafton, I guess we should call them. We'll call it PUBG. We all know who we're talking about. Did not get the rights to Evil Within or Ghostwire. People are like, we want that, but you know what? It's still cool. So, and this is the thing. There's this big shift in, and we talked about this when a bunch of the studios got closed. There's a big shift in gaming to these smaller teams focused on these like really big, safe, quote unquote, safe hits. And I'm going to make a bold Fujo prediction right now. That shift is going to come back to more creative teams in about 5 years. And so I'm expecting there might be an Evil Within, a Ghostwire, to start to get developed in about 5 years. The gunslinger said cause a wheel. And I think so many things in this world, it's a pendulum, swings one way to another. It's cyclical, goes round and round. However you want to think about it, whatever analogy you want to use. I feel like, a lot of gaming companies are going to do that. And then they're going to see, oh, wait, there's potential missed revenue if we do these even smaller games, but that are creative and interesting and still, high quality to get people interested. So I'm expecting within 5 years that production will start up again. Oh, a movie from one of the biggest movies of all time to one of the smallest and biggest bombs, Borderlands. Absolutely beloved video game a series. Had one of the worst opening weekends of all time. $8.8 million opening weekend, good enough for a solid 4th place. This past weekend, Deadpool Wolverine still taking in first. And this movie cost about $110 to $120 to make. That breaks the streak, actually, for paying attention, of really good video game to movie TV adaptations. We had The Last of Us. We talked about that in great detail when it was coming out. We're not going to rehash all that. We are very excited for season 2. Fallout. We haven't had time to watch that one, but it's been really well received and pretty true to the games. And then Borderland bombs. It's a huge series. I never got into it, but it deserves better. There's a lot of people complaining about casting choices. You cast Kevin Hart as a comedian and to play Roland, one of the more serious characters. A couple major characters, Brick and Mordecai, are excluded. People not happy, and it showed. And it showed. That's why, look, you got to make good games for people to play. You got to make movies that people want to watch. You can't just take an IP and just do whatever the heck you want with it. It's not going to work. All right, moving on. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. We talked about this game when it was announced a few episodes ago. September 26th. Release date is coming up soon. I think by then I might actually be able to beat Breath of the Wild. Maybe not though, to be honest. I don't think I'm gonna have that much time in the next month and 6 weeks out. But they've showed a lot more gameplay. It looks honestly pretty wild. It probably won't get cheaper until the Switch Next. Although there was a rumor that the Switch Next won't come out until like April 2025. So maybe we can find Echoes of Wisdom online for cheap on Kijiji or something like that. If we can pick it up like that, then maybe I'd consider it around the holidays. Pick it up for cheap around the holidays. That'd be a pretty good idea. Another game that's been announced for 2025, Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, they're starting to do their showcase videos for each of the different weapons in Monster Hunter. It's all about which weapon, how you can move, when you can roll, what actions you can cancel, which actions are locked in. It's a really cool strategic action RPG. They've shown a bunch. What did we see? The Kinesect, Glaive, the Sword and Shield have come out. Not a lot. I'll say some of the Monster Hunter Rise moves are getting built into the weapons, which is kind of cool. I don't think it's going to have as much mobility as Monster Hunter Rise, but it's really, really interesting. And I'm actually, fingers crossed, it makes it out onto the Switch Next. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to be getting it. Because I think when this was first announced, roughly, let's call it 8 months ago, I was like, I'm going to get a gaming PC. I'll be able to play this. Nintendo, you are my only hope. I don't think I'm going to be able to play it any other way. We need the next Nintendo console to be able to play this so I can play it. And if it does, we're going to talk a whole heck of a lot about it. What are we getting into now? Oh, this is a funny one. This is Deadlock, a hero-based shooter in alpha access by Steam on Steam. Hero-based shooter genre. That's like I always say, you want to strike when the iron is room temperature. Strange choice, but it seems like it's a fun game. But it's in alpha, and they don't want people publishing things about the game. You're not supposed to stream it. You're not supposed to take YouTube. You're not supposed to tweet out pictures, all this stuff. So the website The Verge puts out an article with a bunch of screenshots. Now, this is silly. I think at the end, this is probably going to be some artificial, guerrilla type marketing, where these guys put out this article, and then they got banned because part of the deal with the alpha is you agree that you're not going to do this. However, the person in the article states, they said, do you agree to not share anything from the game? And they hit the X button instead of saying okay to agree. So they said, well, I didn't agree to those terms, but they were still allowed to play because that X didn't actually shut the game down. And I feel like this is really just like a really silly, I feel like they're creating this drama online to get people to talk about the game. I think it had like 20,000 concurrent play testers for an alpha. So I think it's actually pretty good. But it's just this silly thing. And then this article, people are also kind of giving this article a hard time. It's not even a great article. Someone played the game for an hour or two and then put out this article. And we know that gaming, quote unquote, journalism has really gone down in quality. But the question is just why? Why does it have to go down in quality like this? Right? They're just really simple, basic things that people complain about in the article that if you'd spent any significant amount of time in the game, you wouldn't be asking the questions. Apparently the developers are really active on their Discord group that they advertise a lot because everyone wants to advertise their Discord group. We almost started a Discord group back when we were streaming. A lot of people were requesting it, actually. Let's keep in touch when you're offline. We can chat about decks and stuff like that. That would have been interesting. Never happened though. So this is just a silly little article, and it gets this game some more press and people talking about it because of this. So I think they're in on it. Those are the conspiracies I like. What's another fun topic? Dr. Dre. I'm never gonna forget about him. Some of y'all might. Has made a statement that he wants to try, as the Olympics just ended. Okay, quick Olympics thing. I've watched 0 minutes of the Olympics. However, I love hearing when Team Canada wins medals. I'm very proud of them. I have been following along with the meme Olympics, a lot more. And I will say that Turkish dad, who got silver in the shooting competition, is my gold medalist for the meme Olympics. Um, However, for the rest of the sport Olympics, apparently Dr. Dre has said he's been inspired by these Olympics, and he says he's going to try out for the 2028 Olympics team for archery. So, that's not a statement that was on my 2024 bingo card of things I would ever hear. But cool. Good for you, Dr. Dre. Now, there's a clip where he speaks about this. And in the clip, he says, they shoot at 70 feet. When I practice, it's at 90 feet. This is going to be no problem. Now, in the Olympics, they actually shoot at 70 meters, not feet, which is closer to like 230, 210, 230 feet, something like that. So I'm really hoping people online are hoping that he misspoke. Otherwise, this is going to be a really big reality check when he finds out the target is 3 times further. And there's a couple of people claiming, again, this is the internet, they're claiming to be know what they're talking about when it comes to archery. And it seems like everyone who's at least online claiming to know archery doesn't think the setup that he was showing off is going to be able to hit anything at 70 meters. So that one I kind of want to follow up on just because it's incredible to think of Dr. Dre just trying out for the Olympic team for any sport, let alone actually representing a country, the US. He would obviously be trying out for the US. But yeah, just the fact that he's off by a factor of about 3. I think it's like 3 feet per meter. Is that how it works, roughly? There's no real conversion from metric to imperial. And that's fine. Last thing we're going to talk about. We went way faster. I thought we were going to spend 45 minutes on Deadpool Wolverine. That's fine. I got so excited. I think I spoke too fast. Let me know if you can understand anything I've said this entire episode. Probably caught that. Star Wars' Acolyte. I had a lot of fun with this. There's a lot of frustration, and we'll address some of the frustration in about a minute. So, I thought this was very fun Star Wars. I thought there were incredible action sequences. We got to see Trinity doing cool Jedi Kung Fu. I thought the story was interesting as it was building up some mystery about what happened all these years ago. What happened with this girl? Oh wait, there's actually twins. One of them's evil. What did the Jedi do? Was it so bad? Now all the Jedi are spread out and they're starting to get killed off. It's interesting what's happening. And then you find out what this horrible thing happened at this. Wait, but it's actually not that bad. Huh. And then Soul beats the bad guy twice. And then he dies. Which, to me, that was the moment when I think Fujosovich said, yeah, I think IMDb is right. It is 3 out of 10 or whatever it was. 3 out of 5 or whatever the rating was. Because Soul was the soul of the show, in my opinion. I didn't understand a lot of the negative reviews. Here's the thing. I don't go into... We're gonna address this in a second. I think the show was fun and I was entertained. Therefore, I think it is good. I'm not gonna go into Star Wars. Something like that is built, admittedly, they want to sell some toys. They want to sell some merchandise. They want to sell you some cool lightsabers. They want to sell you some cool Legos. If you're looking for cinematic brilliance, don't go to 80% CGI blockbusters with that cast incredibly big name actors and actresses in every other character. Okay? Comic books and these novels and the sci-fi was never some great bastion of literacy. Okay? It's fun art that can be, geared towards kids and adults at the same time to have fun. And as these franchises build up, can help be powered through with nostalgia. And we should be so grateful and happy that we ever got Logan, that we ever got Dark Knight. So that whole thing is like, it's so silly to then get so upset about this because it's supposed to be a fun thing at the end of the day, right? And if that's not what they're doing, then what are these, you know what I mean? There are a lot of other movies to go watch if you want these artistic whatevers. And again, that's not to excuse if a movie is bad. And of course, like, oh, but I wish it was a little better. That's different than the the complaining that you often run into. And to me, it's just like, I enjoyed the actions. I enjoyed the tense buildup. Yeah, at the end, I was a little disappointed, but I still had a good time. You know what I mean? But it's just, yeah, it's a little nitpicking in my opinion. Like you're going to the wrong store if you're gonna go and get upset about that. Also, one side note, there is absolutely zero HR in the Sith world. Okay, they have sexy Sith master who goes skinny dipping right in front of his Padawan, walks out towards her with his arms spread wide and saying, "I need a towel, baby," or I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. Then at the end, they're just staring at the ocean and he just goes to hold her hand and she's somehow cool with it. I don't. This is a complete abuse of a person in a position of power. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know what was going. There was some intense love something going on there and I was not comfortable with it. I will tell you that much. But again, overall, it was a fun series. That's, you know, is it the best Star Wars thing? Definitely not. Is my favorite Star Wars thing? Definitely not. It was a fun Star Wars thing. That's my review. Maybe people don't like that. People want to be all critical, and that's fine. You can do that too if that's fun for you. And of course we can want it to be better, but not everything's gonna be Andor in the Star Wars universe. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. And I think, you know what? That is gonna end it. A nice crisp under 30 minutes. I've been getting lots and lots of feedback. Fujo, keep it under 30. Keep it a tight 30. You keep it tight, you're gonna get more views, you're gonna get more listens, or we're getting closer to some of those sponsorships we've been looking for. But that's okay. We'll talk about that in the coming weeks. We also need to talk about we didn't figure out the streaming schedule. This is my hypothetical. Either New Year's Eve or New Year's morning. We do a little streaming, which might be a little challenging this year. I'm realizing as I'm saying it out loud. I'm thinking it through out loud, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Maybe it'll be towards the end of the year. So I have what is this, four-ish, 5-ish months to figure it out. That's gonna be it for us today. Again, if you got the Gaming Dad gaming suggestions, shoot a message into the comments on the YouTube verse or in the podcast verse, and stay safe out there, everyone. Be good to each other. We will talk to you again sometime very, very soon. Have a great day. Afternoon, morning, or evening. Bye-bye.